must tell the truth.
Got it. Dignity and truth. Let's get a dose of that with the leader that Steve Kerr backs right now, Joe Biden, who spoke sometime after Kerr. It was way past his bedtime, and it was a manic, incoherent rant. He told women they had no electrical or electoral power. Try to figure this out.
Women are not without electoral or political power. No kidding.
No kidding. But let's just get back to that dignity thing Steve Kerr was talking about, dignity and truth. And here we see that sort of glorious dignity of Biden repeating verifiable lies to sow racial division. And in doing so, he even invoked the name of his dead son. It's not very dignified in my book.
And chanting the same exact anti-Semitic bile that was heard in Germany in the early 30s. Neo-Nazis, white supremacists, the Ku Klux Klan. When the president was asked what he thought had happened, Donald Trump said, and I quote, "There are very fine people on both sides. My God." That's what he said. That is what he said and what he meant. That's when I realized, had listened to the admonition of my dead son, I could not stay on the sidelines. So I ran.
So dignified, so truthful, so full of joy.
All right, my friends, Joe Biden, President of the United States, right front and center. And we've been talking about it for a long time on this channel, just how Joe Biden is apparently drugged. Something is going on where they're pumping him full of Provigil, some type of Ritalin, something going on. Because the other day at the Democratic convention, we had mad, aggravated, insane Joe. And of course, just like all the Democrats, they were lying to you once again.
That demented diatribe was, of course, devoid of fact. We told you that years ago. It's all on video. The fine people hoax is just that. Trump did condemn the neo-Nazis and racists unequivocally.
And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay? And the press has treated them absolutely unfairly.
And yet, years later, the Democrats from Joe Biden down continue to push that dangerous, divisive lie, even after President Trump was almost assassinated. It's beyond despicable.
It is extremely disappointing what the Democrats, these woke Democrats, are doing right now. This is unlike anything I've ever seen in the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party of today is a fascist, a socialist party at best. They are definitely not the party that I remember my grandfathers belonging to and praising. They are definitely not the party of JFK or RFK for that matter. And they must think we are all bad. They must think that they can simply say, oh, democracy is on the line. That's not working. Now they're switching to this hope and joy and love and peace type of campaign without giving us any type of facts or specifics. And I'm telling you, friends, we're not going to buy it. We're not going to take it this year. The American people are much smarter, and we must make sure that we get this message out to everyone. Now, you might ask yourself, well, if this is not going to work for the Democrats, then why would they employ the strategy? And the strategy is very simple. It worked for Joe Biden. Remember back in 2020, Joe Biden hid in his basement, and yet he was able to win the presidency. And I'm certain that Kamala Harris thinks that's exactly what she's going to try to repeat. It is a fact that Kamala Harris just got done backing out of a proposed debate on Fox News. Check this out.
That, of course, Kamala Harris announced this morning that she's running from the Fox News debate. And what a disgrace it is for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz to talk tough, but then to run from the American people's questions, to run from these debates. I think if you want to be the vice president or the president, you ought to do as many debates as you can, because that's an opportunity to actually talk to the American people and make your pitch to them. My approach for the one debate that it looks like I'm going to have with Tim Walz is just to keep it focused on policy. You know, this is a guy who supported the rioters in Minneapolis as they burned down that city to the ground. This is a guy who supported supported policies that would defund the police, that have raised the price of groceries and of energy for American families. And I just want anybody who watches that debate to come away with it with a recognition that I know what it's like to deal with some of the problems and some of the bad policies of Kamala Harris. And we're going to make things better if the American people trust us with the opportunity to do so. And so that's how I'm going to keep it focused. And that's what I'm going to focus my preparation on.
And of course, Kamala Harris definitely does not want to talk about her agenda or what she's proposing, because we already know what she's proposing. More of the same: socialism, price controls, going after grocery stores for price gouging, putting a stop to fracking and drilling for oil, especially offshore oil drilling. She wants each and every one of us to live the great California dream, and that's not something we want. The other thing she wants you to believe is that crime is perfectly under control and there's no reason for us to have to put more police on the street.
Well, here in Chicago, at least 14 people have been shot and 5 people have been killed since the DNC began. This is with all the cops and all the extra protection.
Another favorite tactics of the Democrats, these woke liberals, is to cook the books, is to cheat, is to inflate the numbers. Just yesterday, it was reported by the U.S. government that the actual employment numbers that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were touting as proof that Bidenomics works, guess what, folks? They overinflated the numbers by almost 1 million jobs. That's right, almost 1 million jobs.
You know, the range of how many jobs they would take away for a variety of reasons, maybe the largest is the birth-death model for businesses, was going to be somewhere between 350,000 and 1 million. It comes in at 818,000.
Wow, 818,000 jobs less than what they were telling us that they actually created. That is one heck of a statistic. I would say it's more than just a statistic. I would say it's evidence of their fraud. Kamala Harris, Joe Biden fraud at its best.
This is a huge revision down, 818,000 fewer jobs. This is basically the government's overstated the amount of people in the workforce. And even when you look under this, manufacturing was down 115,000 people. So this is a revision down, a significant revision down, the largest in 15 years that we've seen. And it basically says that the government has now overstated the amount of people who are working in this workforce. It shows weakness in the job markets over the past year that we didn't realize was there, but now we know is there. So again, 818,000 overall jobs down, manufacturing down 115,000 in this. And if you just wrote construction down 45,000. So these numbers are huge numbers in revisions down.
And of course, if that's not bad enough, you have Kamala Harris saying, hey, give me a chance to do the job correctly. Forget that I've been in office for 3.5 years. On day one, I'm going to fix everything. Another Democratic lie, another Kamala Harris lie.
You can only spew those untrue attacks because you can't talk about Kamala's winning record or Biden's winning record. You know, they would try, but immediately they'd pivot to, well, gosh, the economy is still terrible. We need more housing that's affordable. We need to bring down grocery prices. And that's the reality of what Americans are facing. Kamala Harris is currently in office and currently failing. There is no day one for Kamala because she does not deserve the promotion she is looking for.
That's exactly right, ladies and gentlemen. Day one for Kamala Harris was 3.5 years ago. Don't buy these lies that on day one she's going to do anything. We know who she is. We know what she's all about. Don't believe it. And when you hear the Democrats, especially Kamala Harris and her campaign team talk about they're going to go ahead, hey, we're going to give everybody $25,000 for first-time home buyers, don't believe it for a second. Basically, that is taking our taxpayer money and giving it to someone else so that they could buy a home. It's basically socialism. You're taking from others that have paid in and giving it to others who did not pay that money in. And what is the net result when you do something like that economically? You drive up demand with those type of incentives. Anytime a government gives incentives, they are essentially driving up demand. That's what they do when they give incentives like this. And what happens economically when you drive up demand? The cost goes up. Did you hear that? That was the sound of each and every house going up by $25,000 if Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, unfortunately was ever able to take the presidency. But don't take my word for it. Here are folks in Chicago, Illinois right now as this DNC is going on. Here's what they had to say about these economic proposals.
We're going to be helping others. We also have to make sure the citizens of the city are, in a better position than they were in past years.
They were sleeping in front of the police station, and come on, the police station is like where you go to get protected, and all these people are like just there, and it was always dirty.
It's not just families and stuff. It's a lot of people who just get out of jail. Also, gang members from Venezuela. So I don't agree. We have enough issues here already. And our mayor, our governor, they're not understanding that.
Yeah, and some Democrats here in Chicago say immigration needs to be talked about more here at the DNC.
I'd love to hear an apology from Kamala Harris. As borders are, you allowed nearly 8 million people to manipulate our asylum process. I know I'm not going to get that, but I also want to know and hear some recognition of we have to do something that fixes the front door so that everyone isn't relying on the back door to get into this country.
And yes, ladies and gentlemen, that back door, you just heard that one gentleman speak of, the back door is you, the back door is me. The back door is our tax money. Our tax money is not without limits. We have a limit. We only have so much tax money. We cannot take care of every single immigrant that wants to come into this country all at one time. It simply cannot be done. One of the main things you need to understand when it comes to a democracy, and I realize we're a constitutional republic technically, but we are a democracy. One of the many pitfalls of a democracy, if you're not careful, is that when the individual taxpayers understand that they can vote themselves the treasury, it's all over, ladies and gentlemen. The country will no longer succeed. Folks, there is no free ride. Generation Z, there is no free ride. Get up, get to work your tail off, make it yourself. You can do it. God has given you health, blessings. You are able-bodied. Get up and work. It's just that simple. There is no free lunch. There is no free ride. Folks, do you agree or disagree with me? Please let me know in the comments below. I appreciate each and every one of you taking time to hear what I have to say. If you subscribe to the channel, I will definitely personally respond to any comment you care to leave. If you're still with me, might as well hit the thumbs up button. Be sure to like, share, subscribe. It helps the algorithm, helps the channel, helps get this message out. This voting season that's coming up right here is going to be so consequential and so important. It is an absolute necessity that we have uncomfortable conversations with our family and friends. If you share this video with them, that's one way that you can have. That's one way you can start the conversation. Always like to say, my friends, keep that mind free, never give up. Until next time, I am J.R. Dukes.